I never imagined that a single morning could turn my life upside down. I woke up like any other day, stretched under the warm sunlight spilling through my window, and headed straight to the bathroom to brush my teeth. But when I looked in the mirror, I froze. It wasn't just that I looked different, it was that my face wasn't mine anymore. My jawline was softer, my lips fuller, my eyes wider, almost doe-like. My hair had length and volume I had never had, cascading over my shoulders. I touched my face in disbelief. "This isn't possible," I whispered, voice shaking with a strange, unfamiliar softness. Panic surged through me. I ran to my bedroom and ripped open the drawers, expecting to find some kind of trick, some explanation. But nothing made sense. My body, my entire body, had changed overnight. My chest was now undeniably feminine, my waist narrow, hips curving in ways I'd never experienced. I stumbled back to the mirror, pressing my hands against my cheeks, my throat tight with disbelief. How? Why? My mind raced, heart pounding with fear, curiosity, and an electric spark of something I couldn't name. I was still me, inside, but outside, I was unrecognizable. The day progressed, and reality hit harder than I could have imagined. Every reflection, windows, phones, mirrors, was a reminder that my life had changed overnight. I couldn't go to work like this, my clothes didn't fit, my shoes felt alien, and the sound of my voice when I spoke was soft, melodic, almost intoxicating. When I tried calling my roommate, the voice on the other end paused. "Whoa, is that you?" they stammered. I felt my stomach twist with shame and fear. "It's me," I admitted, voice trembling. I don't know what happened." Throughout the day, every glance felt amplified. Friends I texted seemed confused by the photos I sent. Family members would notice subtle changes in my posture, my expressions, the way I moved. I was terrified of stares, whispers, judgment. Every interaction was a minefield. I wanted to hide, to retreat, but somewhere inside, a spark of curiosity flickered. That night, I locked myself in my bedroom and just stared at the mirror. I couldn't escape the reflection, and slowly, fear began to shift into something else, fascination. My new body, my new face, my new presence, it was beautiful, intoxicating, and strangely compelling. I started experimenting in secret. First, small things, trying on my sister's clothes when she wasn't home, brushing makeup brushes against my cheeks to see how colors worked, feeling the softness of fabrics that I had always avoided. Each moment sent shivers through me, part embarrassment, part thrill. Makeup became a language I was learning to speak. Foundation smoothed my skin, blush added warmth to my cheeks, eyeliner made my eyes pop in ways I had never imagined. I practiced in front of the mirror, whispering, "Is this really me?" My voice, my expressions, my gestures, they all began to change subtly, gradually revealing a side of me I had never allowed to surface. Heels were a challenge. I wobbled, fell, laughed nervously, but with each step, I gained balance and confidence. The way I moved, the way my hips swayed, the subtle elegance in my posture, all of it began to feel natural. I was discovering a rhythm in my new body, a power in femininity I had never known. Days turned into weeks, and I couldn't resist stepping into the outside world. I went to a coffee shop in a skirt and blouse, nervously gripping my bag as I walked. Every eye felt like it was on me, and my heart pounded. But the reactions were surprising. People smiled, held doors open, complimented my outfit. With every small interaction, a sense of confidence began to bloom inside me. Weekends became playgrounds for experimentation. Small gatherings, casual walks, even errands, I started testing the limits of this new identity. Each outing was terrifying, exhilarating, and deeply liberating. I learned to talk softly but confidently, to smile without fear, to enjoy the attention without shame. At one point, while walking through a park, I caught my reflection in a store window. The person staring back, soft, elegant, radiant, was me, and yet someone entirely new. My chest swelled with pride and disbelief. I whispered to myself, "Yes, this is me. I can be her." But growth always comes with challenges. One day, at a small work meeting, a colleague unexpectedly appeared at my apartment. I panicked, frozen in a dress and heels, and tried to explain. Their expression shifted from confusion to surprise to acceptance. "You look incredible," they said. And in that moment, I realized I didn't need to hide anymore. I could be seen, fully, unapologetically. The turning point came when I was invited to a formal social gathering. The event was glamorous, intimidating, and filled with people who could scrutinize every detail. I wore a deep blue dress that hugged my curves perfectly, heels that tested my balance, and a confidence that I had learned to cultivate. Every step felt electrifying, every glance amplified, every movement a revelation. As I entered the room, I felt the eyes of everyone on me. Cameras flashed. Strangers smiled. Compliments flowed. And then, someone familiar walked past, a friend from my old life. Panic clawed at my stomach, but I remembered all the nights of private practice, all the small victories, all the courage I had nurtured. I straightened my shoulders, lifted my chin, and smiled. "Yes," I said softly, voice clear, melodic, confident. "It's me." The relief, the empowerment, the liberation, it was overwhelming. The fear that had haunted me for weeks vanished. I didn't need to hide. I didn't need to apologize. I could exist fully, beautifully, unapologetically as this new version of myself. From that point on, life transformed completely. I navigated social spaces, professional settings, and public outings with newfound confidence. I experimented boldly with fashion, makeup, and self-expression. Strangers complimented me, friends admired my transformation, and family began to see me as more authentic than ever before. But the most profound change was internal. I had learned to embrace vulnerability, to confront fear, and to find freedom in authenticity. I realized that transformation isn't just physical, it's emotional, psychological, spiritual. The power of stepping outside comfort zones, embracing curiosity, and expressing oneself fully is life-altering. I wasn't just an ordinary guy anymore. Overnight, I had become a stunning woman, yes, but more after the initial shock of waking up as someone entirely new, I spent the next few days in a fog of disbelief. I avoided mirrors as much as possible, dressed in baggy hoodies and sweatpants to hide what had happened. But the curiosity gnawed at me. I found myself sneaking glances at my reflection, feeling a strange mix of fear, awe, and an unfamiliar thrill. Eventually, I gave in. I ventured into my sister's closet when I knew she wasn't home, hesitating as my hands hovered over dresses, skirts, and silky blouses. My fingers brushed against soft fabrics, and I shivered at the sensation. Tentatively, I picked a simple pink dress and slipped it over my head. The material hugged my new curves, and as I caught my reflection in the mirror, I froze. I didn't recognize myself, or maybe I did, in a way I had never allowed. My hair framed my face differently, the dress accentuated my new waist, and even my posture shifted as if my body knew how to carry itself in this form. A small laugh escaped me, half embarrassed, half exhilarated. This actually feels right? Makeup became my next adventure. I watched countless tutorials online, studying how to apply foundation, blush, and eyeliner. At first, my hands trembled as I tried to mimic the brushstrokes, fearing I would ruin everything. But with each application, I felt more like the person staring back at me. My voice softened as I practiced speaking in a melodic tone, experimenting with pitch and inflection, marveling at the effect it had on my reflection. Heels were another challenge entirely. The first time I attempted to walk across the living room, I wobbled and nearly fell. My knees shook, and my balance felt completely foreign. But I kept practicing, slowly learning to move with grace, to shift my weight, and to walk with confidence. Each small victory, the click of heels on the floor, the sway of my hips, sent a rush of exhilaration through me. I began to explore public spaces cautiously. A short walk to the corner store, a coffee shop visit, all in carefully chosen outfits and modest makeup. Each interaction was nerve-wracking. Every glance felt like scrutiny, and every compliment made my heart race. But with each success, my confidence grew. I realized that people responded to me differently, with warmth, attention, and curiosity rather than judgment. These small outings turned into mini adventures. I tried different hairstyles, experimented with jewelry, and adjusted my voice to suit my new persona. I discovered joy in the little details, the swish of a skirt, the brush of makeup against my skin, the flutter of lashes against my cheeks. Each day, I felt a little more comfortable in my own skin, a little more powerful, and a little more myself. And yet, alongside the thrill was fear. Every outing carried the possibility of being recognized, of judgment, or of ridicule. My heart pounded in anticipation, and my palms sweated with tension. But the exhilaration outweighed the anxiety. I began to understand that this new version of me wasn't just a costume, it was a discovery, a side of myself that had always existed, waiting for the chance to be explored. By the end of the week, I had transformed my apartment into a private sanctuary of self-expression. My wardrobe expanded, my makeup skills improved, and my confidence flourished. I was no longer just the ordinary guy who had woken up to an impossible change. I was becoming a stunning woman, learning to embrace each curve, each feature, each gesture as my own. The thrill of secret exploration gave way to something more profound. I wasn't hiding anymore, I was experimenting, discovering, and beginning to love this version of myself. And the more I explored, the more I realized that the real transformation wasn't just physical, it was emotional, psychological, and deeply personal. Importantly, I had become someone who had discovered courage, confidence, and authenticity. I could walk taller, laugh louder, and live freer than ever before. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see someone radiant, confident, and unapologetically herself. The journey that began with shock, fear, and disbelief has led to empowerment, self-discovery, and joy. I have learned that beauty isn't just skin deep, and courage isn't the absence of fear, it's embracing who you truly are, even when the world expects otherwise. From ordinary guy to stunning woman overnight, I discovered that true transformation is about more than looks. It's about authenticity, empowerment, and freedom. And once you've tasted that freedom, there's no turning back. One night changed everything. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. Weeks passed, and what had started as secret experimentation became a deeper, undeniable part of who I was. I was no longer just practicing at home, I craved the outside world. Each outing, whether to a cafe, a park, or even a small gathering with friends, was terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. But the thrill of being seen, fully, as this new version of myself, was intoxicating. Then came the invitation that changed everything, a glamorous evening event, full of strangers, photographers, and influential guests. I stared at the invitation, heart pounding. I had never attended anything like this, especially dressed this way. Fear clawed at my chest, but curiosity, and a strange, growing confidence, pushed me forward. I spent hours preparing. My dress was deep burgundy, flowing, elegant, accentuating every curve. Heels clicked as I practiced walking across the room, makeup flawless, hair cascading perfectly over my shoulders. Standing in front of the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back. She was radiant, confident, and alive in a way I had never imagined. As I entered the venue, the intensity hit me immediately. Cameras flashed, eyes followed, and every movement felt amplified. Every step, every tilt of my head, every gesture was a test, a performance, but also a revelation. I realized I wasn't performing anymore. I was simply existing, fully, unapologetically, and beautifully. And then came the confrontation. Across the room, a familiar face appeared. My coworker, someone from my old life. Panic surged. My stomach twisted, and my mind screamed, hide. Run. Explain. But all that training, all those weeks of secret practice, had built something stronger, courage. I straightened my shoulders, lifted my chin, and met their gaze. Yes, I said softly, voice melodic and confident. It's me. The look of surprise on their face was immediate, but then it shifted to acceptance. They smiled, nodded, and didn't judge. The relief was overwhelming. I realized then that I didn't need to hide, didn't need to apologize, didn't need to fear judgment. I could be fully, unapologetically myself. The rest of the night became a blur of exhilaration. Strangers complimented me, cameras snapped, and I laughed and moved with a confidence I had never known. Every interaction, every glance, every step reinforced that this was who I was meant to be, beautiful, powerful, and authentic. Returning home, heels in hand, dress slightly rumpled but face glowing, I felt a profound shift. The fear that had haunted me for weeks melted away, replaced by joy, freedom, and empowerment. I wasn't just an ordinary guy anymore. Overnight, I had become a stunning woman, but more importantly, I had become someone who had discovered courage, self-expression, and authenticity. In the weeks that followed, life transformed completely. I navigated social spaces, professional settings, and everyday life with confidence and grace. I experimented boldly with fashion, makeup, and self-expression, no longer hiding, no longer ashamed. Friends and family noticed the subtle shift, my poise, my radiance, my joy. The most profound change, however, was internal. I had learned to embrace vulnerability, confront fear, and find freedom in authenticity. The physical transformation had opened a door, but what I walked through was far more significant: self-discovery, empowerment, and acceptance. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see someone radiant, confident, and unapologetically herself. The journey that began with fear and disbelief had led to liberation and joy. I had learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's stepping into it, embracing it, and finding yourself on the other side. From ordinary guy to stunning woman overnight, I discovered that true transformation isn't just about looks. It's about authenticity, empowerment, and freedom. And once you taste that freedom, there's no going back. One night changed everything. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.